Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous. Or are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memory and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes, and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Huh. Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true, and the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? Wow, I haven't seen that pose in like forever. Yeah, I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if? Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt? I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor. Not yet. It's not over yet, Snake. Right! I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her. To the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case. Thoroughly. I can see the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with the utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. He could have taken the knife from the lab. The only option I can think of is someone else, because the other ones don't make sense with my argument. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude that there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know! This person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition feature by covering their own face? That's what I would think. But wait a minute, Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it! Culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection? Ponko. Posed as the victim? If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit. Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her, and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Okay, I kind of figured that that's what happened, but I didn't know how it would happen. But the jacket makes the most sense. That was the missing link, I think. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby hold it! Objection! I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. Because I realized something so shocking, I had to take a break to digest it. And then the game screen goes black when I do that. Why is it happening now? Whatever. But now, I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me! She witnessed the moment of the crime! Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was A third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection!
Huh. Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Ha! You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. I think that's an insult to you, Phoenix. Clonko's strange malfunction. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by the jacket ID tag. All because Clonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robotic's facial recognition. And then, all the person had to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot has a heartbeat detection system? Also. If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean? Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed. This third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer. But that's... I'm... impossible! La, 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 la. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order! Order in the court! Miss Sykes! Did you say something? A mask? Yes. I remember a... Ugh! Athena! What is it? I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head. Miss Sykes, are you all right? No! Black Cyclops. They're breaking! It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. They're gone. The black Cyclops are finally gone! You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... Ugh! It's all right. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor, by the workbench, with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there! A man?! Quiet, Your Honor! Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there, and... he dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again. And this time, you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then, he kicked me, and I passed out. The murder weapon in this case. Athena also used one of these to stab the Phantom's hand during the incident 7 years ago. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So, I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us a critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall at the lab. Ah, this mask hanging on the wall. It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. Phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means all suspicions against Miss Sykes has... Whoa, what are you doing? You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell, this is not good. A new suspect? Where's the proof of this person even exists? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? God dang it. She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence. Objection! Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab at 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was charging, so I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise... Right. Then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. And Ponko, do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? I'd like to direct everyone to this video that is not in place of the crime, but yeah, that's it. Yeah, I had to. It's like, is it really that? It seems kind of out there. I wish it would have just said video camera or whatever. This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident, around 3 p.m.-ish. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then, let's take a look.